Welcome to Changing the Channel with Joe Garner, a show about shifting our individual and collective beliefs on what is possible for the future of humanity. As our understanding of how our reality continues to shift, we are at a point of reunification between science and spirituality. What does the world look like when we break free from the generational trauma that has kept most humans playing small for thousands of years and step into our full power as the co-creators of this reality? I always ask that you keep an open mind with this podcast. Ask yourself what resonates with my truth at this time and what does not. Respect your intuition, but see if you can get through the whole show because there might be that little nugget buried deep in the conversation that unlocks something for you. Welcome back to another episode of Changing the Channel. Today I have a beautiful sister, Brooke Bucci. She is a certified nurse midwife, an accomplished multidimensional energy healer, and certified trauma professional with over 24 years of experience, committed to supporting humanity in its evolution to oneness consciousness. So welcome to the show, Brooke. Thanks for joining me today.
Oh, you're so very welcome. It's my pleasure and honor to be here.
Excellent. Well, talking about oneness consciousness, I think a lot of times people have an idea of what that means, but let's get real specific. What does oneness consciousness mean for you?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to start. What does it mean for me? So this is my truth, my information that's coming through me. It's my perspective, and that makes sense for me and resonates with some others and may not resonate with other people. For me, what unity consciousness means is that all are valuable, all are innately source energy. So that is a challenging concept when we have been conditioned and brought up in this earthly realm where religion has taught us that God is separate. And we truly are each an extension of source. I am comfortable moving into the place of saying we each are source. We are source energy, extension of source, moving through this human body, this human experience. And so innately, if we are each source energy, if we are each a creator of our own experience, each is inherently valuable. It is that we all are connected. That's the other piece of it, is that we all there is source. All there is source energy, love energy. And if there is just that one thing and we are each of it, then we are all connected. And so that's the piece, is that I am you, you are me, we are mere reflections of one another, and that includes all beings. So animals, and in my opinion, even innate objects, carry source energy as well. Our desks, our materials are made from chemicals, from materials from the earth, and so all carry vibration. And so this is the piece that we are evolving out of separation and into connectedness, all oneness, a belief system that we all, again, it's just repeating the same things, but that we all are source energy, that we are all connected and all innately valuable.
Finally, a place for listeners to gather and share. Join the Ascension Update Substack for messages and updates from our brothers and sisters helping with the Ascension, articles on the future of humanity, and a Q&A where you can ask my guides anything you would like. This is the hub for everything Ascension related. Click the link in the show notes or go to joegarner.substack.com to stay at the leading edge of this movement. And now, back to the show. So from your perspective, where are we in this transition, in this evolution?
Yeah. Well, I feel we are on a tipping point. I feel the rising consciousness of the planet, and I believe. So will that happen in my lifetime? I'm not attached to that concept. I believe we are on the trajectory, and my role is to do my part to show up, to shine light, so that another can remember their light and come into their awakening of realizing their divinity and their source consciousness. And so in that, one step at a time, one human at a time, we are evolving into this unity consciousness. I feel it is important to believe in that concept, that it is possible, that we are headed there, and that it's closer than we might dream. And holding that vision, to me, is what's bringing it closer sooner. And then there's no time, right? That it already is. It already is in existence when we move into that multidimensional space, outside of linear time. It already is in existence, and it was in existence on this planet at one period of time. And so there are those of us that is very important to be very tapped into the day-to-day traumas and pain on the planet, to advocate for shift and change, through healing those things. And of course, I'm aware of those. I'm a human. I'm not trying to avoid the human experience, but I am able to lean into this knowingness of it already being in existence. I can feel into the time on the planet when it was in existence, and that holding that vision of bringing it back, us rising back into this knowledge, is the perspective that I move from.
Yeah. Now, I think a lot of people struggle with this idea of separating the being and the doing, right? The being of
Yeah.
knowing that you are source energy, that you are
Yeah.
eternal love, and that the where we are moving towards in humanity already exists. It's already here. It already exists in another dimensional reality, in the
Yeah.
multidimensionality of existence.
Yeah.
But we're here. We chose
Hmm.
as sovereign beings to come to this point in time
Yes.
where it isn't, where we experience the linearity of time.
Yes.
How do you balance those two
Yeah.
as a, this bridge between divinity and physicality?
Yes. Yes. It is interesting, and it's the fun of it. My answer is I do it perfectly imperfect,
Mm,
and that is what it is to be in this human experience, a spirit being within the human experience. So this is a place we have chosen to that works in dichotomy, works in opposites, so that we can come into our remembering of our wholeness by feeling and understanding separation. And even though it is hard to imagine that all of this is fun, we were clamoring as spirits to get down here and feel the physicality of the human body, the emotional spectrum, and the physical experience. And so the um, it is getting more and more comfortable. I think this is a piece of the unity consciousness, the rising consciousness is getting more and more comfortable with the both and. And so it is not that we are uh, only human and having a human experience, and it is not that we are only spirit beings down here. We are both, and it is beyond it is beyond the human brain's comprehension. And so it is moving more. We've been so trained to live in that mental space, moving more and more down into our hearts, into our bellies, and into our truth, so that we are comfortable saying, I am both of these things. I am many things. I am not just living in 3D reality, moving into 5D. I actually am communicating with and moving in and out of different dimensions as I access different consciousnesses. And so, So it is practice. It is practice and doing it very imperfectly, which is exactly 100% correct, is making mistakes in the human experience, going into times of darkness so I can spiral back around to the light, and a willingness of acceptance to the experience.
Yeah, that's fascinating that you talk about that spiraling into the darkness and then back out again.
Mhm.
I still am experiencing that
Yes.
again, very new in my journey. The last 2 years, I still go deep into the darkness, the
Yes.
fear of what I don't know, the fear that
Yes.
what is about to happen, could change fundamentally everything on the planet. Um,
Yes.
and the fear of just not knowing, okay, like what am I here to do? I mean,
Mm.
that gets a little scary as well. And
Yes.
I go from experiencing this profound and deep knowing, okay, here is who I am and who I'm supposed to be. And then when I start to take steps in the physical realm, the 3D aspect of myself, it gets cloudy again and it gets
Yes.
scary again. And it's like, well,
Yes.
shoot, I thought I had it
Yes.
all figured out. And it just keeps
Yeah.
going back and forth and back and forth.
Yes. And, there was a time that we came into awakening on the planet, and then they transitioned off, but many of us, as we are awakening and coming into higher levels or consciousness, we're staying here, and we're still having that human experience. And so, yes, yes, brother, I just found myself in the last couple of weeks in some pretty deep darkness and shadow work, that another level, another layer that I needed to walk and move through. And I needed to connect in with other spirit beings, other light workers, and even not people that are awake. Any experience I have is an opportunity. Oh, I needed, there was something else ready to let go, another illusion that I had, that I was separate and that I was unworthy of this joyous experience. And I needed to move through it. And I go deep down into the illusion too. We all do. And that, I think, even as light workers, as I'm observing my colleagues right now, friends, that we're actually doing this cycle quite quickly now, quite efficiently, and over again. So there is this death and rebirth cycle, that moving through this shadow and back into the light pretty consistently and constantly. Like, this is the journey, and that it actually becomes faster and more frequent, the higher vibration that we carry.
Right. And that's something that has been profound for me. It used to be 3 or 4 weeks of this probably a little bit less intense depression, but still, that darkness creeping in
Mm.
and just affecting how you're vibrationally are showing up in the world.
Yes.
And now it's down to 3 days,
Right.
sometimes even less than that. And I was watching a friend's Instagram video, and she was talking about her journey and how she still is experiencing this darkness that creeps
Yes.
in, referring to it as depression, and
Mhm.
how it has gone from months and months of her journey
Yeah.
into now it's 3 days, and that seems to
Yeah.
be a pretty common number with people.
Yes.
Is that you're having this like 3 day lowering of consciousness because you have to, like you said, you still have to either shed layers that are no longer serving you, or having to integrate these new
Yes.
energies into your system. And
Absolutely.
it's I wish we could say that it was an easy process, but it's still difficult. It's
Yeah.
no matter where you're at, and you've been on this journey for 24 years now, and um, just to understand that
Yes.
there's no place where it stops. There's no
No.
stopping. Unless, obviously I think if we do fully transition into fifth dimensional existence
Mhm.
where everything is where it is meant to be,
Mhm.
that may be the only place. And even
Right.
then, the forecasts show maybe 1,000 years of that,
Yeah.
because it's always, again, imagine you're the totality of the consciousness of the universe. Like, you would get bored after 1,000 years of
Yeah.
perfection, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, let's throw some rocks in there.
Yeah.
Let's mix
Yeah.
it up a little bit again and see if we
Right.
can get back to that. So
Yes. Yeah, and when we are in those depths, it's hard to remember that we're doing this. This is fun, It's
yeah,
that. I mean, it's that situation you just described of it. Being in love, divine love consciousness 24/7 in light and expansiveness 24/7. Or it's kind of funny to say 24/7, but in that kind of constant space, yeah, this is why we have this experience to come down here and experience the opposite. So, and that there is a sense of fun. And when I'm in the darkness, can I say that? No, not so much, but more and more often, I'm able to say, I see the joy in feeling. I see the joy in acceptance and surrendering of that feeling of falling out of the airplane, as the channel Abraham says, falling out of the airplane without a parachute, and that, oh, I've done this before, and I know it'll stop sometime soon, and
mhm,
I'm going to ride the wave, and still there is an innate um, connection into that there's purpose in this, and it's moving me ahead. That doesn't mean I'm not feeling the intensity of that deep emotion.
right.
And I think it is important uh, as light workers, as evolved those kind of in evolving consciousness, to this piece around humility, that I don't have it all figured out, and we each don't, and that we still have ongoing learning to do, and that your best teacher, each of our best teacher, is ourself, our own inner wisdom, and that we are each just holding space, holding mirrors of reflection up to each other, to help each other find that inner truth. And that I am not the healer. We use the word healer and teacher still. Those are common words that people recognize, but is really a holding space. So another human being is able to connect in with their source energy, their divinity, and their truth.
Mm. Now, how do you, as your own teacher, how do you tap into that wisdom? Typically through intuition or some type of, feeling into the body. The idea is that the body has 6 million inputs of information every single
Yeah.
second, and your brain is filtering out 99% of that to
Hmm.
create what we call this conscious existence that we're
Hmm.
feeling. So how do you tune into that intuition? How do you tune into that wisdom that is always flowing through you every single
Yeah.
day?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to start with the place of doing the shadow work, because I these triggers that we might, or activations, or like all of a sudden an intense emotion that comes up in a situation, it is an access point, like a portal through to uh, some inner wisdom, something your system wants you to come into realization about. So doing that shadow work, uh, and a willingness to look into the places that are heavy for you, are dense, are giving you challenges, I think is the starting point. And then uh, quiet time, meditation, nature. And I have found that it's not doesn't need to be hours of meditation. It is not the time any longer to be on the mountaintop and
Mm,
and quiet for hours on end. That even 10 minutes, 15 minutes of meditation and quiet time. So moving out of the head, out of the mental space, and down into the heart, and into the inner wisdom. And for me, that's also in the belly, in kind of the sacral space as well. And so, and then spending time. It is, it's time. We need each other right now, especially, I mean, everyone needs each other, but those of us that are going through this awakening journey right now need each other to keep remembering. And so having times of gathering in circle or having this podcast or um, and seeking out that we're in constant flow of giving and receiving and not it's just not me putting out to the world. Like I also need to fill up my well, and I do that by being around other beings that vibrate and are in alignment with love consciousness. And so I know I mentioned being in nature, but I will just re-emphasize that uh, many of us can look to the heavens or look to the cosmos, look to the guides and spirits for our ascension. And we are here on Mother Earth, and she is really the access in this physical form to source and spirit as well. So taking our shoes off and walking on her, submerging ourselves in water, lying on the earth, admiring a tree, a butterfly, a bird, and connecting in, feeling what that brings alive in you, and connecting in with the source energy and in earth and in whatever you're experiencing in nature.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I don't hear a lot of is this access to source energy through the earth. Uh,
Mhm,
that it kind of does get skipped over. It's,
mhm.
access through the solar,
Yes.
through the solar energies, through
Mhm,
cosmic energies, through, the
mhm.
universal energy. Obviously, that is source love. The fundamental creation of everything is that wave of energy vibrating throughout the entirety of the universe. But again, we've come here. We're on the planet.
Mhm.
We're on the earth, and we're
Yes.
experiencing this shift in consciousness because we are on this planet, because we are
Yes.
on this planet. We're going through 3D to 5D transition
Mhm.
because the earth is going through this 3D
Exactly. Yes.
transition. The earth wants to be a five-dimensional body again. It wants to feel that um, interconnectedness of all of its cells, all of the cells with inside of it. It wants to feel that interconnectedness, that healthy interconnectedness. Again, if you
Yes.
go back to if you use your body as a stand-in for the Earth's body, when your cells are operating all together in unison, working together for a harmonious existence of what you call your physical body, they're all working together. Not that they're all the
Mm.
same. It's not that it's the same
Mhm.
energy, but they're all working together, and
Mhm.
they understand that they're working together because there is this interconnected energy through them. They're communicating through the membranes of their own cellular structure with each other. So this is a discovery that in the last
Mhm.
20 years we've really actually been able to figure out that cells are not just these dumb things that have very little input, that they're
Right.
actually conscious beings that are
Yes.
interacting both with
Yes.
each other and with their environment and making
Yes.
decisions based off of that. So
Yeah.
we are the cells of this earth that
Exactly.
are coming into communication, that are
Yes.
coming into this more unified, harmonious communication. Again, using technology as one of those ways, just like the cells are using some type of electromagnetic communication between each one of their membranes. We are using electromagnetic
Yeah.
communication via the internet, via telephone lines, via all of these technologies that we've created to mimic the natural order of what a harmonious existence is. And this is
Yes.
where we are in humanity. And we have a
Yes.
choice to use those for the harmonious existence of humanity, or we can choose to use
Yeah.
them to further our separation. And
Mhm.
this is where we are, I think, in this evolution of humanity.
Yes. And so, so beautifully said, Joe. And I think another piece that rises for me is that when in balance, because I am under the perception that there was a time on this planet where there was communal living, that all beings were valued, and it was a time where there was balance between the divine feminine and divine masculine on the planet. Both were seen as valuable and in balance, and that when that shifted on the planet, and that is another thing we are shifting out of back into rebalance between those aspects, there was a significant separation and value of Mother Earth. And so then she was not valued in and of herself as a being. And so of course we've done so much trauma and denigration to her, but that another way through, another access through is seeing I chose here to collaborate with her for her evolution and humanity's evolution, that I have a covenant, an agreement with her to work with her. And so that then brings her consciousness and our piece of the cell, our piece of the organ as a cell here, committed to her evolution as well. And so we do that by spending time in nature. And even if we live in the city, we go to the tree that's there on, and or see the pigeon or the crow, and spending time uh, connecting in with the sameness that we are, the oneness that we are, including the mother as a whole.
Right. Now let's talk about motherhood from more of a humanity standpoint. As
Yeah,
a certified midwife, I think you have a lot to show and share in that birthing experience. And
yeah,
one of those that we talked about earlier was the importance of maintaining a high vibrational state, or space for welcoming the new souls into the planet and supporting those souls as they leave the physical realm.
mhm,
So, share with us what you've learned, what you
yeah,
teach, what you help others to do as souls are entering and exiting this physical reality.
yeah. Yeah, there are some of us on the planet that carry the lineage of sacred and divine birth and death, and I am one of those beings. I went into midwifery initially. I became a nurse and took some time then to go in and get my graduate degree to become a nurse midwife. And the last till last year, I was full time delivering, attending births and helping women deliver their babies. And and so I thought I'd be doing that for for the rest of my life, and I am still doing that part time. But I recognize this desire to expand out and become more multidimensional. Look at it from a even more broader perspective. And that broader perspective is recognizing that there is the physical experience of birth and death, and then there is also this energetic experience as well. And so it comes from a very personal place when I have both an emotional memory and a vision of when I manifested into my mother's womb, into her womb, and I immediately had quite a heaviness of separation and coming from that expanded state, and I had a very significant sense of confusion. And I have worked with many people that have experienced a similar thing, whether it's coming from that expanded state into this restrictive state or coming from another star system into this very lower vibrational space, or if it's trauma and pain they're absorbing, that there is this sense of separation and wounding that can happen in when coming in. And it happened to me, and it's taken many years to untie that. And so what I have come to understand is that if we can assist families and women to clear out what's ready to be cleared out of the system. So it's not like we're going to be perfect individuals. This is how we kind of evolve as human beings, but is to have some wounding here on the planet as of right now, but to clear out what no longer serves, clearing out traumas, wounding, heaviness from this system to make the womb space and the body and the family be as welcoming and as high vibration, as in much love as possible. And then holding that throughout the pregnancy and then as babies come in. And so we prepare physically, emotionally for birth, and there is the option to also prepare spiritually and energetically as well, so that there is less separation and trauma for those souls coming in, so that they can get to the conscious to the love and to their awakening, or maybe never go into the illusion, perhaps, and but have less and less of that, so that we, can assist humanity to not have to go so deeply into the trauma and separation wounding. And so, similarly, on the other end of life, assisting those to clear out karma, clear out density, so that their transition is more gentle. And I don't claim to know exactly what happens as we transition,
Hmm.
but assisting them in their evolutionary path to clear out what is it can be before they move to the other side and can move in that loving vibration.
Right. So what are some uh kind of concrete steps as someone who is going through pregnancy or experiencing
Yeah.
pregnancy? What are some steps that they can take to foster this loving, high vibrational state both before, during, and, immediately after the birth giving experience?
Yeah. Well, I think it is similar to day-to-day life. It is the willingness to go into the shadow work, into pains or traumas or woundings that you've experienced in your life. So many women within their womb chakra and in that sacral chakra space carry much wounding, not just from this lifetime, and partners too, carry wounding from this lifetime, previous lifetimes of oppression and enslavement, and the um, not having control over one's body, and or just birth trauma that they in their own births or a previous birth that they've experienced. And so just accessing what is available there. And the same things, going in nature, bringing in more love, enjoying music. And so creating a sacred space in your home or outside of your home where you go. And this brings you solace and brings in peace and source energy into you, creating that space. And seeking out those that will hold love, vibration, and hold you in sacredness during this experience of conception, pregnancy, and birth. I do believe midwives are a great way to go, and spiritual, healers that have understanding of this. And so these are the steps that I assist women with, is clearing out wounding. Another piece is doing a ceremony around connecting the higher self with the physical body. So many of us are separated, and so doing this reconnection, and then also reconnection to Mother Earth, is recognizing it is safe to be in this body and safe to be on Mother Earth and safe to be giving birth.
Wow. Yeah, those simple, but definitely, I would assume, very effective
Yeah.
ways to just raise the vibration a little bit. And
Yes.
I think those also apply to non-pregnant humans.
Yes.
It's the same thing. If you want to raise your vibration, if you want to experience life from a higher vibrational perspective, you got to do those things. You got to do the
Yes.
shadow work. You got to get out into nature. You have to experience joy on a
Yes.
almost daily basis and put
Yes.
yourself in situations where joy can be
Yes.
what you're experiencing, uh, whether it's 10 minutes that day or
Yeah.
45 days in a row that you're experiencing joy.
Yes. Yes.
um,
Yes. Find the joy. That's a piece of music. If it's having a rock in your pocket that just makes you feel good. I mean, just what is it that brings you joy? And let's bring that in as much as possible into the conception, pregnancy, and birth and after. Yes.
Yeah,
And the same on the other end of the cycle as well.
right. Do you work with people on the death end of the cycle?
Yeah. I have a little more. I work with other people that have this kind of concept of this moving in and out, this innate wisdom around moving in and out of physical manifestation of the planet. I work with several healers. They call themselves often death doulas or death midwives, and mentoring them
Mm,
and assisting them to unveil their own gifts. But it just so happens that I've done a lot more work with on the other end of the spectrum with families bringing in their babies. So I feel like I have an innate understanding around the process is very similar on both ends. It's just not encountered. I've not encountered as many people transitioning off. I've done more mentoring.
yeah. So we also talked a little bit earlier about the significance of the individuals that are here maintaining the vibrational frequency of this future potential of the unity consciousness. What do you mean by that?
Yeah. Well, and we did touch on it before that we are all having our unique experience. And so for me, this is my medicine that I bring forward. This is the truth I understand, the perspective that I have, all that I've just explained about birth. Um, and another perspective I have is this deep knowing and understanding. It's of feeling into, like, I can feel into that we are already there, that this piece of all beings being valued, living in love consciousness, I hold that vibration. And there are others that work with clearing out dark energies and clearing out the the heaviness and the pain and the trauma and the wounding that is happening on the planet, and they work within the darkness to dispel it. And that is not my medicine.
Mm,
I can lean in and feel that future potential, and I see it as my role to hold it in my being, my field, and hold that vibration here in the present moment, uh, so that it wakes up others to knowing that possibility and potential. And so, did that answer
yeah.
your question? Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
almost two ends of the spectrum where there's the ones going into the darkness to help guide people out of it, and then there's the ones that are just holding the light and allowing, others to light their light from their own light. And
Yeah.
that's kind of the two ways that this transition seems to be playing out.
Yeah.
And I would definitely put myself in the holding of the
Mhm.
future as well. I
Mhm.
talk often about what is the potential for humanity? Where is the
Yeah.
future? How can we hold a better
Yes.
idea of these technologies, of the way in which humanity is moving towards, and share that with other people, not just hold it inside and um, hope that you'll be able to raise your frequency high enough that it affects everybody else. Like you have to go out and speak and share and
Mhm.
communicate and be with,
Mm.
and um you know essentially you have to find a community that's going to work
Mhm.
together and continue to raise the vibration, and then that
Yes.
community grows and gets bigger, and then it now we're talking whole cities of these high vibrational frequencies.
Yeah.
And that's certainly a world that I think we're moving towards. And again,
Yeah.
it's very difficult to predict time, to
Yeah.
predict how it's going to go, because it relies on each individual.
Exactly.
every single individual gets to decide through their free will whether they want to hold the light or
Hmm.
hold on to the darkness that they have, hold on
Hmm.
to the traumas that they have, and experience life from that perspective as well. So
Yeah.
as we know and we understand that this is the future that we're moving towards, we still have to go back and help those that are not fully in their light, that haven't
Yes.
found their divinity, that
Yes.
haven't gotten to that point yet of
Yes.
understanding.
Yeah. And I think it's important for us to realize that it's not that we have to go out and do the things and heal the people. It is about holding the vibration and allowing source energy, allowing our superconscious, our higher self to flow through source, love to flow through us and affect, be present in the moment the way it is meant to. And so it is stepping out of I have to go fix and heal the world, and I just have to be love, and I'll show up and do what I am, my service to offer to other humans, other beings, and trust and believe that what I am offering is doing the service I signed up for, the mission I wanted to do to bring us into love and unity consciousness.
Beautiful. Any other words of wisdom that you
Yeah.
feel compelled to share right now?
Yeah. Well, I think it would be interesting to share. We had touched on before the podcast about intuition, and there is a piece around that that I do. Um, I feel like we haven't hit upon acts specifically, and so what I feel intuition is our divinity. It's our our super conscious, our oversoul, higher self, whatever you call it, our true self. It's that knowledge from your higher self moving through our human. It is channeled information from our higher self, and each of us have a unique experience, and so it that information coming through is our intuition. It's those feelings, those nudges that we get. And so the more and more time we spend in union with our higher self, fully embodied, fully human, and fully divine, that we are able to let that innate wisdom move through and bring our gifts. And so the fact that it is unique is the important thing. We've been so conditioned on this earthly realm through our family, culture, religion, educational system, media, that there's a right way and a wrong way, and that there's rules to follow to success and to joy, and that we're dispelling all of that. We so many people that follow the rules, and there's not a lot of joy, and so connecting in with our divinity, our truth, and allowing it to move through us, I believe is intuition. I believe is the path to joy and peace in our life.
Yeah, I would agree 100% with that. That what intuition is the access to the infinite wisdom of the universe flowing through your physical vessel and being expressed in some type of conscious form. And that
Yeah.
when you're working with intuition, it's kind of difficult because it's not a spoken language. It's usually a feeling, or maybe you've got visuals, maybe you're able to kind of see what your higher self wants you to see or experience or
Hmm.
express. But it's a whole new, not new, but it's new for a lot of humans
Yes.
to experience the clairs, to experience
Yes.
this downloading of
Yes.
information. And it's like learning how to see all over again. Now you have to
Yes.
see not only with your physical eyes, but with your spiritual eye.
Yeah.
And learning about that and understanding how to
Hmm.
tap into that and how to fully optimize this new sense, this sixth sense that a lot of humans are getting back. again, we were born into this time and space where most people didn't have access to their sixth sense, their intuition, their innate ability to decipher the higher aspects of ourself. And now we're going through this period where, through this raising of consciousness, people are experiencing for the first time
Mhm.
at 20, 30, 40,
Mhm.
50 years old, this experience of intuition. And I went through it. It was a weird and interesting and scary and exciting, and
Mhm.
oftentimes, you have to relearn how to do a lot of the
Yes.
things that you're used to doing, because it's just, you're not reacting anymore. You're consciously responding to all these
Mhm.
stimuli that ordinarily you're just shooting reactions off, and now you're responding to those reactions.
Yeah.
And it's it's fun, it's scary, it's interesting, it's
Yes.
all a part of this ascension process. It's all a
Yes.
part of becoming uh, the higher aspect of yourself, or your better future version, or
Mhm.
just, becoming a good human.
Yes. And again, we need each other, that uh, seeking out support um, of others that have been through it and are continuing to go through it so that you know you're not crazy, you're
Right.
not alone. And so, and the other thing you said that sparked, my goal with this work of helping souls come in this high vibrational space is that they will not ideally have to wait till 20, 30, 40, 50, uh, that they can maintain that connection with their gifts and their source energy and how they wish to express it right away into an
Right.
environment that supports that. And that's what inspires me and brings passion to my life to help families do that.
Yeah, that's beautiful, and I'm very thankful for everything that you're doing, and helping these new souls in, and be their highest expression almost immediately. It's as soon as they're, ready to step into that role, they already
Mm,
are connected, and it's powerful to see. And I think that a lot of people talk about this next generation of kids are going to be tuned in much more directly and
mhm,
faster than
mhm,
any generation that we're familiar with.
mhm,
I think many years ago, this was not as uncommon as it is right
mhm,
now. But right now, and this is the only memories that all the humans that exist right now are familiar with. They're this
mhm,
long journey of finding who you truly are. And it would be amazing to be in this world where at 16 or 17 you already know this is the journey, this is who I'm supposed to
mhm,
be. um it would be a powerful place to be. And then, obviously, dismantling some of the uh organizing structures that have been
mhm,
built because people were not tuned into who they were meant to be, and disassembling those structures so that it allows the freedom of all these new souls to fully express themselves as who they're meant to be, I think would be another step in this kind of ascension process. And that's where we're
yes,
at in
yeah,
this weird in between time that we're
yes,
all experiencing.
exactly. And I honor your work, for spreading the word and it is really one being at a time, just lighting up something in a fellow human being to remember. And so I honor your work in spreading the word and spreading the light.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a wonderful conversation, Brooke. I really
Yes.
appreciate you coming on and sharing your beautiful light and wisdom with all of the listeners here. If anybody's looking to work with you, whether that's multidimensional healing,
Yes.
midwifery, anything along those
Yes.
lines, what's the best place to find you?
Yeah. My website is journeywithbrooke.com. My email is brooke at journeywithbrooke.com. Also on Facebook, Journey with Brooke. My Instagram is at Bro Bucci, Brobucci. But my website is the best place for healing, shamanic journey work, and energy channeling. I am only part-time, being a practicing midwife in a clinic in Enumclaw, Washington, and delivering, attending births at Providence Hospital in Everett, Washington. So that right now is a smaller part of my life, and the majority of my work and time goes to my energy healing. So, yes,
Beautiful.
journeywithbrooke.com.
Well, thank you so much, Brooke. I really appreciate that. And hopefully we'll be speaking again soon in the future.
Yes, great. Thanks, Joe. I really appreciate you.
Thank you again for listening to Changing the Channel with Joe Garner. If you enjoyed the show, please follow the podcast, hit the bell to know when a new show comes out, share with a friend, and rate us on whatever platform you're tuning in from. It helps get these messages out to more people to create the collective shift in reality we are here to experience. Make sure you interact with the Q&A and poll sections of the show so I can continue to provide content you enjoy. Finally, check out my website in the show notes to become a VIP of Changing the Channel and join the shift that is happening.